Russ Mitchell, I hope all is well. Welcome into the game in T-Town.
Let's kick some tires and light some fires, baby.
Hey, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, Russ, the theme this week has been this. 9 minutes to go, third quarter. Georgia's driving. They're already up 28-14 at that point. We thought they were going to score a field goal at least, if not a touchdown, and we're going to go up probably 3 scores. Did you think Alabama was going to win the game?
No.
Yeah, neither did I. But these Bama fans down here say that they had no doubt whatsoever.
That's right. You bet they had a doubt, man. You just look at the fans on the sideline at that game. There wasn't an Alabama fan in the world who didn't have a doubt. Man, they played y'all better than anybody's played y'all all year. So if you didn't have a doubt at that point, then you're crazy.
I'm not sure that's not the second best team in the country.
Well, yeah, that's a really interesting statement. You saw what Herb Street said, right?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, he came out, and he's the best in the business, and he's also does a good job of trying to be, as political as possible. and he came out and said that they got it wrong, and Georgia should have been in the playoff.
Russ, who would you kick out?
Georgia. I don't listen. I think if anybody plays Alabama, they lose. And is Georgia the second best team? Maybe. But, I just saw it. So if you're going to tell me, is Georgia the fourth and Oklahoma's the fifth? All right. Well, but if they're 4 and 5, I just saw Georgia versus Alabama.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't need to see it again. I just saw it. I'd rather see Oklahoma. I'd rather see if they're that close. I'd rather see Oklahoma versus Alabama and see whether or not Oklahoma can beat them. And if we're going to split hairs, well, let's split hairs and see the matchup that we haven't already seen.
Okay. No, I mean, I hear you. I mean, at some point, a loss has got to matter, and Georgia lost.
Yeah, I mean, but the flip side of that, and I hear what Herb Street's saying and everybody else, if Oklahoma plays that game, they probably have the loss. If Oklahoma plays Alabama instead of Texas, they probably have 2 losses, and Georgia only has 1 loss, and Georgia's playing in the college football playoffs. Yeah, well, if my pig had wings, my bacon would fly to my plate, man. At the end of the day, the only thing I know is if we're splitting hairs, I've already seen it.
All right, I'm with you. Okay, so let's go into a couple of different conversations because I think you make a very, very valid argument. All right, so let's go to Alabama. When you look at Alabama, is there anything that you learned from the Georgia game that would concern you going in against Oklahoma? And if they're able to win that, either Clemson or Notre Dame, did Alabama get exposed?
I wouldn't say exposed, but, I mean, obviously the line play was a little bit uninspiring. In particular, their defense, the Alabama defensive line against, Oklahoma's got a good offensive line. It's gotten better and better. It's part of why Kyler Murray's done so well in the second half of the season. I seen them play in person twice. I saw them at the beginning of the year against UCLA, and they really weren't nearly as crisp as they are now. And I'll say the best thing that could have ever happened to Alabama was this game. Because, there's nothing like nearly getting, there's nothing, especially for a team that's had the success that Alabama's had this year, there's nothing like, getting punched in the mouth and still winning and still coming through with a win and a team win. Because, I've been saying it all year long that the kids in Alabama, there's a lot of stars on this Alabama team that aren't getting any credit. And for Jalen to come off the bench, talk about clutch team win. The defense bowed up at the end and stopped them. That ridiculous fake punt call by Kirby. And then the offense, down the stretch there in the fourth quarter, not just Jalen, but the whole offensive line, that, Jake running the ball, everybody. It's just a really good team win. And it sets you up to see that you're not invincible and you better buckle down for that Oklahoma game.
We're not afraid of Oklahoma.
You weren't afraid of Georgia either.
No,
but
you're
not
right.
For a bonehead Kirby Smart fake punt goal. They will go down in the pantheon of terrible coaching calls.
Right. I got you.
By the way, everybody was rooting for that. Everybody that likes chaos was rooting for that because it would have been Georgia and Alabama back into the college football playoff, and Oklahoma and Ohio State would have been sitting on the outside, and that would have been spectacular.
All right, so we're going to South Florida coming up in about 23 days, brought to you by Alabama Credit Union. And we're I don't know if it's okay, but we're already counting down to Santa Clara, 32 days away. But we're also counting down to New York City. And being a Heisman voter as you are, who'd you vote for?
Why are you asking me this? You know I can't answer this question.
I mean, come on. It's Thursday prior to.
If somebody, it's their dance. They have rules. You got to dance with the person you brought. So I'm going to dance with the person I brought.
All right. So let's play this game. Okay. Tua is B. Kyler is A. A or B?
Yeah. Did I vote for somebody that has the same initials in his first and last name? I can't answer that question. I can tell you this. People have been asking me all week, did Saturday make a difference?
That's a good question. Did it?
All right. No. For a number of reasons. First of all, there's a lot of the Heisman voters that don't even factor the last week because not every kid that's up for the award every year will get to play in a championship game. So a lot of folks say it's just a regular season. So then the next thing is Tua got hurt on the second play of the game. So again, irrespective of who you're voting for, if a kid gets injured on the second play of the game and is obviously hurt, well, then clearly he's not going to have a good game. So, and given everything else he's done, I wouldn't have factored that performance in changing how my vote was.
Okay.
I could tell you this. I'll bet you voted for 2 quarterbacks, 1-2.
Yeah, I think we did. But Russ, you know what this comes down to, though? It comes down to this right here. I think it's going to be so close. And you know how many times you don't think it's going to be close?
No.
Well, then you think Tua's going to win.
Well, I can tell you this. I can't tell you who I voted for, but I can tell you that I did not vote for 2 quarterbacks, 1-2.
Really?
Yeah. The one thing that I bemoan about this award is that since the rule changed in 2008 on how we put the ball back into play, and I know your audience hates I bring this up like every other week, but we've dramatically changed. It's like we've raised the mound. We've corked the ball for the offenses, and this award has become sort of like another Maxwell Award, another quarterback award, and I don't like that. So I mean, in my book, if you're a stud running back, that should get you just as much weight as some quarterback running around throwing the ball 600 yards when he gets to line up at the line of scrimmage and the defense doesn't get to adjust. So yes, I did not vote for 2 quarterbacks, 1-2.
Okay, but a lot of people. Well, and hopefully, if Tua got your vote, then if you push Kyler,
Tua did not. I'm not telling you who got my vote, man.
I'm saying. I'm okay. I'm just trying to guess. But if Kyler wins this award, then Alabama wins a national title.
Well, it is true that winning this award does not necessarily equate to championship success. But, I think this playoff is going to be really interesting. I think it's going to be Clemson and Alabama again. I really do. I think their defenses are, notwithstanding the performance against Georgia, I think their defenses are those are the 2 best defenses in America, and I think defense wins championships still in this day and age. And all things being equal, with 2 good offenses, I like Alabama and Clemson, but we have a lot of time.
Oh no! We that would be definitely rat poison because we're all dialed in. It's gonna be unique to kind of follow this next 24 to 36 hours. Russ, let me go outside of, because Nick Saban said something a couple of years ago, and I was sitting in that room, and I'm like, Nick doesn't know what he's talking about. There's no way. But I think Nick knew what he was talking about. It was Ryan that was late to the party. Does these bowls outside of these 4 teams really matter? Like, does there's anything that grabs you? Fresno State, Arizona State, North Texas, Utah State, Tulane, Louisiana. I mean, Nick was right. He said the 4-team playoff would devalue the regular bows. I got to be honest with you. I haven't even read through the SEC bowl schedule.
I argued the exact opposite. You want to make the games more interesting and more valuable, mix the playoff, mix an 18 playoff into the bowls, and suddenly the games become more exciting. I take it even one step further. I say rank the top 8 teams and play the first. You really want to make every game count?
Sure.
Because right now we already know they don't. They don't. We've seen it over some of the last few games, last few years. The Iron Bowl didn't count last year, right? I mean, it counted obviously to everybody who lives in Alabama, but it didn't count. You really want to make every game count, Brian?
Sure we do. How do you do it?
Then you have an 18 playoff in the first round. You rank them 1 through 8. So every game counts right down to the wire because you want to be ranked in the top 4 because the first round of it is played at home of the higher ranked.
Coach Stallings, legendary Hall of Fame coach.
Yes, he did.
Last night, he said the same exact thing on this program.
I've been saying it for 2 decades. Why let the private businessmen that own the bowls that pay themselves $500,000 a year, why should they make all the money? Why shouldn't the businesses in the city of Tuscaloosa? Why shouldn't the state of Alabama that supports their team? Why shouldn't they make the money? And we've got these beautiful cathedrals: Bryant-Denny, Jordan-Hare, the Swamp, the Horseshoe, the Big House, Death Valley, the fake Death Valley out in Clemson, right? Why shouldn't we celebrate these magnificent stadiums that we have and these beautiful campuses? You really want to make every game count, Ryan?
I do.
Then at the end of the year, you rank them 1 through 8, and you make Georgia would still be in it. And we'd get to see Georgia play Notre Dame or something like that under touchdown Jesus. Oh, my goodness.
Oh,
you tell me you're not watching that? You tell me you're not watching that game? That would be 8 drop-dead, stop whatever you're doing and make it to a TV, man.
It would be fun. I mean, I can only imagine the environment. Because we're here in Tuscaloosa, and it's electric already. I mean, I know we're 22 days away from Miami, but it would be, could you imagine? And fighting for that.
Dude, even if it
seeding.
Was UCF, even if the first game was UCF coming into Tuscaloosa after finals were over. And, I got to say something else. You remember 2012 Alabama versus LSU, right? Down in New Orleans.
Right, sure.
So I'm going on ESPN national radio back when ESPN used to actually let people that didn't work for ESPN go on the radio show. And I'm on their show, and I'm thinking, here we are, a rematch of one of the greatest games ever played in the history of college football between 2 of the deepest defenses ever in the history of college football. Meanwhile, there's a wild card game in the NFL going on. Do you remember what it was? It was like Saints versus somebody. You remember?
I do. Yeah, sure.
It was Saints. So I've got 15 minutes that we're going to talk about that. One of the greatest helicopters flying overhead for this national championship game between Alabama and LSU. It's such a big deal. They let me talk for 4 minutes, and then they cut me off so that they could talk about an NFL wild card game. We need to make sure that our national championship game of our spectacular sport is as far away from the NFL playoff as possible.
I got you. I mean, I'm with you.
Don't get me started on all this.
Well,
man.
I'm with you, but I mean, we also need to get when you
35 years of this nonsense that I've been putting up with.
But at the end of the day, that's not going to happen.
Just so really, really rich men can make more money. And we're finally chipping away at this cabal that's owned our postseason, right? We're finally chipping away at this nonsense. The next step is to get the payouts out of the contracts of athletic directors and coaches. That's the next step. But we'll work on that one slowly.
Yeah, but you know it's not going to happen. And
it's
just
baby.
No,
There's too much money. There's too much money in the model I just described, man.
No, but
too much money.
Well, I think you're right, but I don't think it'll ever happen.
I guarantee you. I'll tell you what. If Jalen Hurts doesn't come back with the just ridiculous Hollywood of all Hollywood script, if you saw that in a movie, you'd walk out of the movie, smiling, going, "That was cute," but I mean, there's no way that would happen in real life. When Alabama loses that game, Georgia wins, Alabama and Georgia are both in the playoffs. It's one thing to kick out TCU, the Horned Frogs, and Baylor. It's another thing entirely to kick out Oklahoma and the Ohio State University. The Big Ten hasn't played in the playoffs since 2015.
But hey, if you create an 8-team playoff, then really it's only 7 teams because Alabama would always be there. I mean, it would just be locked up. It would be the other. No, it wouldn't be.
What? You know what, kid? Alabama's won how many of the last few they deserve to be in right now? They're a top 8 team. Every year they deserve to be there.
Sure.
They make it there every year on merit. They'd make it there every year on merit still. So, yeah, it would be Alabama and 7 teams.
Russ Mitchell, CFB.
It would be glorious, man. Glorious. And then can I just say one last thing?
Sure, yeah.
What you really do is, those are pretty much all going to be Power 5 teams, right? And then maybe the best of the group of 5, like UCF. Then you do the exact same thing for the group of 5. You play their playoff games on Friday nights. You sprinkle the bowls, mix them into the bowls, play those on Friday nights, play the Power 5s on Saturday nights, sprinkle all the other bowls Monday through Thursday, do the NFL on Sunday. The whole December becomes bigger than March Madness.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I mean, I think it's a good idea, but I don't think it'll ever happen.
It'll happen.
But because it's team like these Santa Clara, California games. Russ Mitchell, I could get on a soapbox and talk for weeks about having to go to Santa Clara, California. They don't even show up to their own NFL team.
When you're hungover, and it's like, I don't know, I forget the dates exactly, but let's say December the 29th, and you've had too much to drink the night before, and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and you turn on the championship game of whatever, FCS, James Madison versus whatever, for all the marbles. You watch that, and you don't even know the mascot of James Madison, but you still watch it because it's a championship game, and, all the marbles are on the line. So you're telling me you wouldn't watch, teams that you actually know and that you've seen throughout the year because they've won some big games like Memphis versus UCF or Memphis. I mean, you'd watch that in a playoff on a Friday night. Darn tootin' you'd watch that.
Russ Mitchell, CFB. Russ Mitchell, CFB, man. You got to get those Christmas cards in the mail. I haven't got mine yet.
I know. I just got them today. They'll get them out.
All right.
It's my wife, man. My wife.
I know, but you always have some very unique Christmas cards, and I always look forward to seeing you and the beautiful family, and it always brightens my day. I mean, it's I don't get many Christmas cards, but Russ Mitchell always sends me a Christmas card, and I appreciate it.
You're gonna make me blush. I'll talk to you later.